Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to Straight Talk on Social Media. This is Ian Desher, Digital Marketing Specialist from Pivot Group, talking with you today. Today we are going to be looking at Facebook pages and doing a review of Facebook pages and pointing out some new things that Facebook has introduced in the last few months here, just as sort of a refresher course. Before we do that, I want to remind you that in your GoToWebinar control panel, you are able to ask a question, and I would be happy to answer questions at the end if you do have a question. So by all means, use that if you'd like to. Before we get into that focus topic, let me discuss some news items. And there's quite a lot of news today, so let's go ahead and talk about it. First of all, Twitter has redesigned its mobile application. You can see the old version on the left here and the new version on the right. Basically, what they've tried to do is make it a little more clearer to use, easier to use, something that's much simpler for people. And so it's a recognition that the app that they had before was not working out so well for them or for their users, and so they've really trimlined it and made it a lot better. So anyway, you can check that out just by downloading their app. Facebook's stock had further problems this week when investors were starting to be worried that next week Facebook is going to put out some numbers saying that its revenue is down, and so Facebook stock took a big plunge, and is now at something like 25% or so down from where it first started when they had their initial public offering just a couple months ago. So it'll be interesting to continue to watch that and see what happens. Sort of related to that, at least it's related in my mind. Well, and let me say also, this to show you this statistic. Facebook page engagement is down. This was an interesting study done by a company called PageLever, and what you're seeing here is, how many views of people's custom tabs that were had on Facebook. And so the custom tabs are if you add like your own contest or something like that to your Facebook page, people are able to view that on a custom tab. And it used to be that you could decide that one of those custom tabs was going to be the default thing that people saw as soon as they came to your Facebook page. Now Facebook has taken that away with Timeline so that your timeline is always your default view. You can't take people off to a custom tab. They have to choose to click off to that custom tab. And you can see how much the engagement with the custom tabs has gone down since the introduction of Timeline. The fact that Facebook has made it so that people have to click on those specialized tabs really does make those tabs less engaged with. So it's interesting, and it's interesting to see what Facebook will do with that information, and to see if they ever re-implement something where companies can determine sort of where they want users to go when they first visit the page. So these sorts of things, the stock going down and the timeline, engagement, suggests some trouble for Facebook. And it's just been announced this week they're doing a couple of things that is sort of pointing the business in new directions, which I sort of see as very related to the issue of their stock going down. I think they're looking for other ways to expand and monetize themselves. And so let me show you what a couple of those ways are. First of all, Facebook is testing out doing some online banking. So they're working actually with an Australian bank and allowing people to do things like engage with customer service representatives online. I think even do things like set up certain automatic payments and things like that within their account, all from within Facebook. So Facebook is trying to become, sort of a one-stop place where people can handle a lot of their online transactions in one place. I imagine that before too long we're going to be getting to the point also where people are paying utility bills through Facebook and things like that. But interesting to see this sort of move into an online banking format. The other thing that Facebook is testing out is a job search feature, so that people can, so the companies can post jobs and people can search for jobs within Facebook. So this clearly is sort of a dig at LinkedIn. They're sort of trying to take over some of LinkedIn's prominence in terms of job searching and social media. But again, it's another way for Facebook to sort of try to monetize some of their efforts as well as make Facebook sort of an indispensable website for people who are doing day-to-day things like searching for a job or doing their banking, things like that. So I sort of see that as all in response to you know, some of the issues that Facebook has had since they went public with their stocks. Now, speaking of LinkedIn, LinkedIn has just redesigned its homepage, and it looks a little more like Facebook. So if you've been on these webinars before, you may have heard me use the word Facebookification, which is sort of something I see going on with a lot of social media sites where they are redesigning or adding different features to help make them look a little more like Facebook. And LinkedIn, I think, is just the latest one of these to do something like this. So you can see from this example, LinkedIn is trying to let people share more sort of different kinds of posts. So instead of just being a place where you're posting your resume, you're actually starting to share a lot of content, photos, video, links to articles and things like that. Some suggestions about people you may know over on the right-hand side and jobs you may be interested in. So LinkedIn is you know, sort of moving in a Facebook-like direction in terms of trying to get people to share more and more content there as well, as in the same way that people might on Facebook. So just as Facebook is trying to you know, test a new job searching tool, LinkedIn is coming around with a redesign that looks a little more like Facebook. Also, speaking of LinkedIn, I got an email from LinkedIn this past week as the owner of the Pivot Group page, and it told me about this new thing that they've done called follower statistics. It's a new metric that LinkedIn has. Now, this metric is not going to be super impressive. I'm showing you the Pivot Group numbers here. We don't have a ton of followers on LinkedIn. It's not something that we have sort of actively pursued. But you can see how it's starting to give you statistics about what your followers are doing, how much they're seeing your material, what sort of updates you have, how many people are new, that sort of thing. Even more interesting is this area down in the bottom right, and I'm going to show you another view of this. The follower demographics, I think, is really interesting. And so we just move to the next slide here. Here you can see some of our follower demographics, and this is by industry. So this is people who come from various industries. But you can see also there are things like seniority and function and region and company size, and you can really start to get really interesting looks at how your followers on LinkedIn are shaping up in terms of what kind of people they are, you know, what industries they're in. Really is a great tool for helping you sort of analyze who these people are. It's different than the sorts of insights that Facebook gives you, which tend to be sort of more demographic information about sort of age and gender and things like that. You know, I really like that LinkedIn is helping you understand things about, you know, the industry that people are coming from and sort of the seniority level that they might have within their company. So that's something to check out if you run your own LinkedIn page. Just look at those follower statistics. And now I want to move into the focus topics, straight talk on a Facebook page review. So as I mentioned at the start of the webinar, Facebook has made a number of sort of improvements and enhancements to their company pages as, you know, in the last few months. And really they're doing it often enough, and some of them are sort of quiet enough that you don't even necessarily know they've happened unless you're paying close attention. And even as I was preparing this webinar, I learned about a thing or two that I hadn't realized in terms of what they're doing on their company pages. So, I want to walk you through some of the newest features of the Facebook pages to sort of just help you keep up with what's going on with the pages. So first of all, I'm sure you've noticed if you are an administrator on your Facebook page, when you first log into your Facebook page, you're now seeing this admin panel at the very top of your page. So it's actually literally taking your timeline and pushing it down and showing you some of the latest information about your your page right there at the top. So you're seeing some of the recent notifications about how people have been interacting with your page, some of your newest likes, your insights, so some of your statistics for your page. You can add friends if you want to, and if you've gotten any messages, you'll be seeing those as well. And so that's what the admin panel does. Basically, it's a snapshot of the most recent activity on your page, which is going to be, I think more and more helpful, as I think the larger a company is, the more helpful this admin panel could be in sort of giving a snapshot of, okay, here are the latest things that you sort of need to pay attention to as the administrator of this page. I mentioned this briefly in my webinar 2 weeks ago. Facebook is now calling it voice, and basically what it is when you are when you're logged in as to a page that you administer. So in this case, I administer the Pivot Group page, and you can see there's this helpful notice that says you are posting, commenting, and liking as Pivot Group, and these are just larger versions down here at the bottom of this bar at the top. But what they've started to call this now is voice. So in other words, this is the sort of voice that you're using to engage with your customers. So if you see voice, you may notice that, and you can turn off this notification by clicking on that voice button. But you can also then switch back and forth using that voice button if you'd like to. So just know that that exists. I mentioned it 2 weeks ago in the context of this is a really helpful way to make sure that when you're posting on your page, if you want to be posting as the company itself, then you can make sure you're doing that. Or if you want to be posting as an individual, then you can make sure you're doing that. It's a way of sort of checking yourself before you accidentally post in the wrong way. Some of the timeline features to note here, the tabs here that Facebook has laid out. There are certain tabs. The Photos tab is always going to be the first one, but a lot of these other tabs are customizable. Of course, if you add a custom Facebook tab, those can show up here as well, and you can reposition them so that it sort of adds some navigation to your page, and there's it makes it easier for people to get around and see information from your page, and not only information, but make sure that you're pointing them to the information that you want them to see. It's important to know about these tabs. Usually when you go in, what you're going to see is you're going to see 4 across the top here next to your main headline. If you click on this little arrow, that's when you can start to see these expanded versions, and then you can move them around as you need to. Also, with the timeline features, as I've mentioned before, you now do have sort of all of your history. It can be a lot of fun, especially if you have a day when you can't think of something to post, to go back in and fill in some of the earlier history of your company, show some photos of when you were founded, or important highlights along the way when you introduce different products or services, things like that. And that's going to fill out your timeline over here on the right. And those posts will also show up in people's news feeds as you add them. Now moving into the sort of back end of the page. So this is in the administrative settings for the page. First of all, within the settings here, you can see right now the only settings that they have are the notifications for email notifications. So this, if you are the main administrator on a page, you probably want to make sure that your notifications are turned on, so that in addition to being able to see the information, see who's posted and things like that, when you come to your page, you're actually getting emails about them, so you really make sure you don't miss a customer comment or something like that. So just make sure that you have those email notifications turned on correctly. A few things about page visibility. This is under Manage Permissions now. One of the things I thought was most interesting, although there's lots of good information here about sort of who can do what, which I'll talk about in a minute. But here was an interesting option, which is unpublish the page so that only admins can see this. Now, this isn't probably something you'd want to do while after the page were live, but it's a great thing to do if you're setting up a new Facebook page and you want to sort of test it out and not make it live to the world yet, and only share it with the other people who are administrators on the page. You can unpublish it and make sure that it is only visible to those administrators. And then once it's ready to go and you've added content and gotten your timeline cover photo looking good and things like that, then you can publish it to the world and make sure it's looking great. So that's a good thing to know about, again, if you're thinking about adding a new Facebook page. Other things, you know, about the page here, there are the age restrictions, who's able to post on the timeline or add photos and videos. This post visibility is an important one. So do you want to be highlighting the recent posts by other people? So other people who have either posted on your page's timeline or who have mentioned you in their posts, do you want to, you know, have that highlighted in a box at the top? Yes or no? Can people tag photos posted by your company? If you work in a community and you want people to be able to tag photos of their friends that they happen to see in photos that your company has posted, then you can allow that. And do you want to allow people to send a message to you directly through the Facebook page? Yes or no? So those are some interesting options. I'll say some more in a few minutes about sort of what that means in terms of how you set those different options. And then here's, yes, also again, pointing out the messages feature there. You probably always want to have this turned on so that people can go ahead and send you direct messages through the Facebook page. Also, on that same page is the profanity block list. And here you can see where the option is down here. And here's a sort of larger picture of it and also the Facebook's explanation of it. So basically, Facebook will block commonly reported words and phrases marked as offensive by the broader community. So we can all imagine what that means. It means that if somebody tries to post something on your page and they are using certain words or phrases, then Facebook is going to say no. And the options here, which aren't actually showing up, I believe the options here are none, or medium, or high. So high presumably would block all kinds of things. Medium would block sort of only the most offensive things. It'd be kind of interesting to see Facebook's full list of these things. You know, clearly they've figured out some method for discerning what's offensive a little bit and what's most offensive. But anyway, so that is something to think about. Particularly, you know, I would say, I guess my recommendation around that would be, you know, you can leave it off, but if you start running into problems with it, you know, I mean, I think leave it off in the interest of sort of letting people have free speech. But if you do start running into problems with that, where you have a person or multiple people who are tending to use a lot of profanity, then I would say go ahead and turn it on, and you know, let those people be blocked. You know, they really should know better anyway. In the basic information, this is one of those things that I sort of realized as I was preparing for this webinar. There's this great thing called place subcategories. So it's where you can start typing in some of the products and services that your company offers, and it's going to start filling those in and sort of add that to your page as part of your page's description and the categories in which your page can be found. So that's really helpful to know about. It's worth going in and making sure that you've got those set up correctly, that you're referring to things that your business deals with. So in my case, I added in, you know, marketing consultant, research service, web design. Those are the things that Pivot does, as well as other things, of course. But anyway, that gives you the idea of sort of how you would use that. And those were all three of those, I should mention, were categories that were there. You know, I just sort of started typing in marketing, and I found marketing consultant on the list. I started typing in research, and I found research service on the list. So it's a, you know, those are categories that are sort of already out there that you can add yourself to. In the featured section, there are ways to feature both your likes and your owners. So if you want to feature certain other companies or institutions or even events that you like, then you can go ahead and feature those here. Or if you want to feature your page owners, I think I've talked about this before, but it might be a great way, you know, if you add your CEO as an admin on your page, and then you want to feature the page owner for a while, or for, you know, longer than a while, then then you can do that here, and again, just what it says, their personal information is going to be publicly displayed in the About section of the page, and the page will then be shown on their personal profile. So it's an interesting thing to be able to do, and it could be helpful, particularly if you have a CEO or anyone in your company who is sort of well known in the community or sort of an industry leader, that sort of thing. This resources section, again, within the administrative portion of your Facebook page, just gives you access to sort of a library of different things that you might want to do from within within your page. So it gives you links to advertising, to selecting your username if you haven't done that yet, to invite some of your contacts via email to come and see your page, to use different plugins, link your page over to Twitter, and then also gives you resources for some of their most important help sections, including things like a best practice guide for marketing on Facebook, best practices to make your page engaging, things like that. So I just know that the resources is sort of a library of tools. You can think of it as your toolkit that's there for you that Facebook has added just to make it a little bit easier in case you're looking for answers to certain questions or ways to do different things on Facebook. Within the admin roles, again, I mentioned this in a previous webinar, but they've added the ability to change different roles for administrators. So you can see that I'm a manager on the page, which is sort of the highest level, which means that I can I can send messages, I can create posts, I can delete the page, I can add administrators if I want to, and then they have on down the list the content creators, who are people who can add and delete content, but can't necessarily add users, add administrators to the page. A moderator who can respond to some posts. Advertiser who's able to do Facebook ads for your page. And then an insights analyst who is able to see your insights but really not do much else. Some of the mobile stuff here is pretty interesting on the mobile tab. One of the most interesting is it gives you an email address, and basically what the email address does is if you send a photo to this address and include a caption in the email subject line, that gets automatically posted to your Facebook company page. Or updating your status, you can write the emails in the subject line as your status and then leave the rest of it blank. And this is an easy way to be able to update your status from your mobile phone or really from anywhere. And it's also a way that you might be able to sort of do workarounds with things like adding posts to both Facebook and Google Plus at the same time, where Google Plus gives you a similar kind of thing you can do here with an email address. So just know that exists. You can go to the mobile portion of your page to see the address that's there for you. And then your insights, we've talked about these before, where it's giving you some statistics on how people are engaging with your page. Also within the sort of toolbox drop-down menu here, there's a link to the Page Insights Guide, which is sort of a manual for how to understand these insights and what they'll do for you. So if you want more information about that, you can go and download that also. And here again, just a view of the insights and what they'll do for you. They post by post, they show you how many people have been reached, how many people at least had the opportunity to see that post. How many people were engaged, which and engaged I think means in this case this was a video, and this was a fun video we posted this week of a commercial that Dave Neustratton's daughter made for and her friend made for Pivot, which is really a lot of fun if you haven't seen it. And so engaged users, I imagine that would be the number of people who have watched the video. 32 people are talking about it, so they've posted about it or liked it or done something, and then it's giving you this sort of virality score which is really the number of people talking about it divided by the total reach. So, or I'm sorry, I had that backwards. The total reach divided by the number of people talking about it. So anyway, just something to know about in terms of how Insights reads your information. And then finally, deals. I mentioned this again last week, where they've now added this to the administrative portion where you can create a deal really easily. And so there are individual deals for when they check in as your business. You can pick a loyalty deal, a friend deal, a charity deal. So these are all different kinds of things that Facebook has added to allow companies to do. So you can choose your type of deal here. Then you get to put in a summary of it, how to claim it, some of the restrictions around it, and then you post it using the Create Deal button. So it's something to think about and try out if you want to give a special promotion to people who are interacting with you on Facebook. Facebook has made it very easy to create a deal for your likers. And it's something you can do without having to, go through the process of finding a third party to do an actual Facebook promotion for you. So that's also really helpful. So I realize we're close to the end of time. I want to just talk about a few quick takeaways. First of all, Facebook has a wealth of tools, so just know what they are. Make sure you're sort of keeping up with them. Go in and look through the back end of your page every now and then just to see what might be new there. I think that the big lesson here is that your page is going to be effective as the effort you put into it. Facebook does have all of these tools you can do, and certainly one could spend almost all day, every day, doing different things on a Facebook page, optimizing this and that, and most of us don't have that kind of time to do that. But do know that the more effort you put into your Facebook page, probably the more successful it's going to be, the more people are going to engage with it and interact with it. Do optimize your page. Make sure that you're showing the tabs that are most relevant. Make sure that you've got your subcategories set so that people can find you easily in terms of the services and products that you provide and things like that. Bear in mind that your settings express your public stance. And what I mean by this is when I was talking about the things like the permissions around who can post on your wall, or who can add photos or video, or who can tag photos of you, just bear in mind if you turn those things on or off, you are making a statement to your followers about sort of, basically how you feel about free speech as a company. If you don't let anybody post on your wall, then that's really showing people, you know what, we want to be able to have a platform and say things to you, but we don't want any engagement to come back from you. And companies, that's really considered not good practice. Facebook allows it, it makes it an option, but it's really not good practice on social media to turn that sort of thing off. So just know that however you set those, those things, it is going to reflect on you as a company in terms of how you stand on things like free speech. Don't stress out too much about the insights. Looking at insights can depress you, or it can, if you feel like enough people aren't looking at your page or haven't seen that post that you really wanted them to see, I wouldn't worry about it too much. The overall thing you need to do is just make sure that your content is, continually engaging and that you are responding in a timely way to people who post on your site. And I think the effectiveness of your page is going to roll out of those things, not so much out of the sheer numbers. Featuring your likes or your admins, that featured option that they have is really a free way to promote the people that are connected to your company and the other companies that you are connected to. So, so just know that that's a free way to promote those things, and so you can take advantage of that, and it can help you out. Try a deal if if you're so inclined to do something that's just a unique offer for your Facebook clients only. Go ahead and do that. They're easy to turn on and turn off, and you can try it for a little while. And if you decide you don't like it, you can just turn it off and stop it. But it really is giving people an incentive for connecting to you via Facebook really does sort of help heighten the idea that Facebook is a unique community for your customers to be a part of, and will make other people want to be a part of that community and come and like your page when they hear that somebody got a deal through the page. And finally, Facebook has a page of their own called Facebook Pages, and it's at facebook.com/Facebook Pages. There should not be, I apologize, there should not be a space right here. between Facebook and Pages. It's just facebook.com/Facebook Pages all run together. And if you like that page, then that's going to help you keep up to date with some of the biggest changes that Facebook is making to their company pages. So I just know that's an easy way to sort of stay updated with what's going on the company pages. And that's all I have for today. Thank you very much for your attention. We'll be back 2 weeks from today, Friday, August 3rd, to talk about testing your social media marketing. So I'm going to be talking about how you can run sort of different tests to make sure that your your marketing through social media, Facebook ads and things like that are most effective. And for our telecommunications clients, Dave Neustratton's next Straight Talk on Telco Marketing webinar is this Wednesday, coming Wednesday, July 25th at 11 o'clock. And I know he'd be happy to have you join him for that. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time today. Have a wonderful weekend. Remember to keep your media social and your talk straight.